Am I the AH for attending my ex's wedding? I don't know if I am in the wrong or I am being gaslit. I, 36F, attended my ex's, 37M, wedding this weekend and I apparently failed a test. My ex, Adam, and I dated in high school, from the time we were 15 to 18, when we amicably split up to go to college in different states. Since college, we've kept in Facebook familiar contact, where we'd wish each other happy birthday, or congratulate each other on big milestones, but have had no other contact in the 20 or so years since then. About a year ago, I saw his engagement post on his Facebook and congratulated him. A few months ago he Facebook messaged me, asked how I was doing, and said he wanted to have a bit of a high school get-together at his wedding since he was holding it in our hometown. He was inviting most of our mutual friend circle and he'd love for me to attend too. I hadn't seen most of these friends in over a decade, and I thought the idea sounded fun, so I accepted the invitation. The wedding was this past weekend, and it was incredibly normal. I attended with my husband, he got to meet all of my high school friends and their partners, and we had a great time. Sunday morning I wake up to a slew of Facebook messages from my ex's new wife about my audacity to attend the wedding and how out of all his former girlfriends, I was the only one who failed the test. She said that clearly you shouldn't attend an ex's wedding unless you're still hung up on them and how I must be planning to steal her new husband away. I was shocked, but also apologized if I had been unwelcomed and how I must have misunderstood as my reason for attending was to see old friends. She immediately responded and again said that no sane woman, with good intentions, would ever think it was okay to attend their ex's wedding. I again apologized if I was unwelcomed and hoped my presence hadn't detracted from her day. I then messaged my ex and apologized if I had misunderstood and hoped I hadn't caused any issues. He replied that he was glad I attended, the invitation had been sincere, there was no separate event planned, he was glad to see the old friend group and apologized about his new wife's messages. I left it at that, thinking it was a closed matter. A few hours later, the new wife is messaging me again, complaining about how I was trying to manipulate her new husband to make her look crazy. I decided this was not a ship I wanted to sail on, took a screenshot of all her messages and my replies, sent them to the ex and said I was just going to go ahead and block them both so I couldn't be accused of inappropriate contact with anyone. Yesterday, I started getting messages from the bride's sister saying I poisoned my ex against his new wife and I should have kept the messages to myself. I'm also being told I could have just avoided all of this by knowing I shouldn't attend my ex's wedding. I'm honestly not sure if I'm in the wrong or I'm being gaslit by an insecure woman and her sister. So, am I the AH for attending my ex's wedding? Am I the AH for calling my niece, my baby? I, 23F, recently visited home for my niece's 7th birthday party. I live about an hour away from my hometown for college and I'm currently pursuing my master's before I go on to law school. This is all to say that I see my family maybe once or twice a year due to classes and me working 2 jobs. My niece's birthday was 2 weekends ago, and she and I are quite close. I spent a lot of time babysitting her when I was younger and still at home because my brother and SIL both work jobs. My classes were all online due to COVID, so it was natural for me to become the instinctive babysitter. I was happy to do so because I love my niece and wanted to lighten the load of my brother/SIL's emotional and physical loads. My family, SIL and brother included, knew I would be attending my niece's birthday party as a surprise. When she saw me, she ran up to me and shrieked happily. I wrapped her up in a big hug and said, "Hi, my baby," before giving her a smooch. I sent her off afterwards to mingle with her guests, like a proper host, lol. I then sat with my own family and caught up with them. Later, my SIL seemed distant and annoyed with me. Before presents, she pulled me aside and asked me not to call my niece, my baby, again, because she found it offensive. I profusely apologized as soon as she said so, and promised I wouldn't do so again. I spent the rest of the party calling her sweetie, or just by her name. I'm an extremely affectionate person. I call my niece and nephew an array of terms of endearment, both including my baby. I've called both of them this occasionally before around family, and no one has said anything. To be honest, sweetie/sweetheart is more common for me, but this isn't the first time. I never say stuff like "you're my baby," "this is my baby," etc. I usually word it like "of course my baby," "hi my baby," "yes my baby," etc. My SIL is still mad at me, and later called me a horrible aunt in person for calling my niece my baby. I tried explaining it was just a term of endearment and saying I meant no harm, but she seemingly does not care and keeps calling me horrible. It's breaking my heart because I've tried apologizing and making it up, but my SIL swear I'm out to get her. I don't know why she thinks this. I've done nothing but look after her and my niece. I just wish she would listen to me instead of icing me out. Am I the AH for calling my niece my baby as a term of endearment? Am I the AH for calling my wife out for never doing the hard chores? My wife, 40F, and I, 39M, have been married for 7 years and have 2 kids, 4 and 2. We both work full-time but have different schedules. I work a standard Monday to Friday 40-hour week. My wife's job requires her to work Saturdays, so she takes random days off during the week to compensate. Both our kids are in daycare during the week. When my wife takes a day off during the week, she will get chores done like cleaning, shopping, laundry, etc. Which is great that she can get that stuff done on her off days. But these are things that can also be done on the weekend. She will leave other, more labor-intensive chores for me to do on the weekend. We have a 1-acre yard, so there is always yard work to be done. And it is nearly impossible for me to do that kind of work on Saturdays when she's at work and I have the kids. I've talked to her numerous times about doing yard work on her days off when I'm at work and the kids are in daycare. But she refuses, because it's too hard. Which, yeah, I know. I'm the only one who does it. It's even harder when you're chasing around 2 kids. This means that I have to spend pretty much my entire Sunday doing yard work. Every single week. We've argued because she gets a work and kid-free day to herself to get things done. But she picks the easiest chores and leaves the hard ones for me to do on my one remaining weekend day. I work Monday to Friday, then have the kids by myself all day Saturday. I just want to spend some time on Sunday watching football and relaxing. But I can't because of the yard work. This past week, my wife took Thursday off and got some chores done. When I got home with the kids that night, she made some comments that pissed me off. She kept saying we still need to mow the lawn this weekend. We need to trim some bushes and trees and bring the brush to the yard waste site. I think we should rake up all the fallen pine needles and pine cones to use as fire starters. I snapped at her and asked her which of those things she was going to do, since she kept saying we. She got defensive and said that she is going to be watching the kids so that I can get that stuff done. I told her that I think she is using the word we incorrectly then, because it sounds like I'm going to be the one doing all of it. She then went off about all the things she got done on her day off. When I told her that I could do all of those things on Saturday, even with the kids, but she refuses to do any of the hard stuff. I then asked her if she could tell me the last day she had the kids by herself when I wasn't home. She couldn't answer and called me a jerk. I told her if I can learn to fold a fitted sheet, then she can learn how to use a rake, a lawnmower, a weed whip, etc. I also told her that I am going to start planning things for myself on weekends so that I have my own time, even if it means hiring a sitter. She thinks I'm overreacting and expecting too much of her because the yard work is hard,